back to Call the Damn Leads, the show by sales professionals for sales professionals. I'm your host, Drew B. Wilson. With more than 2 decades in sales, I've seen it, been through it, heard about it. Now I'm bringing it to you, my favorite people in the world, the sales community, because this is the greatest job on earth. It doesn't matter where you come from, what background, what personality type, you can create an amazing life in sales. And today's guest is no stranger to that journey. I'd like you to welcome Mr. Bryan McDonald. Hello, sir.
Hey, welcome, man. I appreciate the invitation. This is going to be fun, Drew B.
Absolutely. I'm excited to have you. And you know how we do it, man. I want to jump right into your crazy sales story.
Yeah. It was interesting. This actually happened to me early on within the first 6 months of my sales career. And, I got a job out of college. I applied for a marketing job and they gave me a sales job. So like, crap, like, okay, I got to figure this out. I was nervous. I was anxious. I was a people pleaser. People wanted to, I wanted people to like me, and I didn't really know how to operate. And I would just start showing up, right? I got a client base. I just started showing up. I started realizing like, hey, when I just stopped trying really hard to sell and I was just with just myself, that actually resonated with people more and relaxed. And I can maneuver through conversations. And about 6 months into the job, my sales manager said, hey, man, I want to come drive. I'm going to ride with you. I'm going to come ride with you. I'm like, okay, whatever. So as I'm taking them out, seeing customers, when I would get back like later in the week, I would get calls going, hey, Bryan, hey, man, I love you, but I swear to God, if you bring that guy back here, I won't let you in the front door. And there was one president of a company who was like, Bryan, I really like you. I know you're not, you're new in sales. I would go over and have lunch with him every so often. He kind of, slightly mentored me, right? And when I took my sales manager into his office, my sales manager went to the bathroom and he about almost killed me. He looked at me, he goes, if you ever bring that guy in here ever again, I'll never teach you anything. I'll never buy you lunch. Like, get him the hell out of here. And that was a moment for me or a time for me to realize like, hey, whatever this guy is doing, I need to do the opposite, right? Because it's pissing people off. And what I learned is people were forced to buy from him because if you couldn't go, it was a wholesale packaging company, and they cornered the market in Chicago. So if you couldn't go direct to the manufacturers, you had to go through these people. So they were forced to do business with them. And I mean, played that out after my first, I think, year and a half. They gave me a raise on Monday and I quit on Friday because I'm like, I cannot do this. I cannot, not here. I need to go create my own or figure out sales for myself. And I was just crazy. Like, I was like, I would never thought that would have happened. Like the guy who's supposed to teach me I was being told to keep him away from other people.
How wild of an experience, right? Because I can't say that happened exactly to me, but I've definitely worked with some folks where it was like, hey, I'm going to be out of the office. I'm going to have you talk to so-and-so. And then when I call and follow up, they're like, I don't ever want to talk to that guy again.
Yeah.
Don't ever do that to me. And it's just like, what the hell happened, man? This was a lay down sale and now they don't want to do business with us at all. And so it's so interesting to me how different individuals in sales have a different sales process, right? Some people go about it in a more friendly and empathetic way. Other people are that hardcore closer. Like, if you don't buy, you're an idiot and you should feel guilty and shameful. And it works for some. Yep. It's not how I like to buy. So I'd be curious, with all your experience in sales, like what have you done to try to develop out that sales process for yourself? And then how do you start teaching it to others?
And perhaps you kind of think this way too. I had to find a way that worked well for me in regards to sales and sales process that was repeatable, that like for this guy, the sales manager, you could tell he was like BSing people and faking it, right? He was putting on this like persona. And kind of how I alluded to in that story and my journey is I've realized that just unapologetically being me and wanting to help other people and serve them is the thing that sold a lot of crap. Right. And it was repeatable for me. Right. I didn't have to shape shift. Now, did I need to learn skills to manage, natural resistance in sales process and things like that? Yes. Right. But I learned it in a way that here clients tell me like, hey, you can punch me in the stomach and hug me at the same time. So I feel good about it. Right. Like, and you gotta, I think you have to be like that with prospects where I'm not a pushy person, but when something needs to be said, to in a healthy way, challenge somebody, I do it. Right. Because buyers naturally want to resist. Right. It's just, I think there's a psychological dynamic that goes on there. Right. So then I just teach people like, hey, like, here's how the framework, I teach them frameworks, right? Here's a framework. You need to figure out how you live in that framework. Sometimes I'll give you the words or I'll give you how I approach it, but you need to take this and make it your own. Right. Like, because yes, people need scripts, but if the script is, if people can tell it's just repeated, right? They pick up on that crap and they're like, you're just BSing me, right? So I try to do my best to help people make it their own and feel authentic, because then you can knock it out of the park, right? And it's like, people are like, I should dress up, I should do this, I do that. I'm like, no, be yourself. Like, don't put on a persona, right? Because prospects are gonna snuff that out quick.
Yeah, I'll never forget one time I went to a job interview when I was younger. And now I've been in sales my whole life, Brian. So like I grew up in the street selling anything and everything I could get my hands on. And I remember I had gotten let go from the cigar shop and I was kind of trying to find a new opportunity. And I showed up at this place and the interview was at like a 10 a.m. So I showed up 15 minutes early because that's just the kind of person I am. And I'm sitting there waiting and I watch all these people come piling out of the back room and they like circle up and you can see them doing their chant and their hype up for the day. And, I'm all for like getting the hype and the energy going, but I'm looking and they're all wearing suits and ties and dress shoes and they're all dressed to the nines. And I remember I had on like a polo and some khakis and I asked the young lady, I was like, is this like a suit and tie every day kind of thing? And she's like, oh yeah, we dress for success around here. And I was like, totally respect that. I'm going to go ahead and cancel the interview. This isn't for me because, like, I'm not going to wear a suit and tie every day. And she just gave me the craziest look. And I walked out. And I'll never forget, the guy came chasing me out in the parking lot. He's like, hey, aren't you supposed to be here for an interview? And I was like, well, I was, but I'm not going to wear a suit and tie. That's just not my style. And he's like, well, what do you mean that's not your style? That's how people that are successful dress. And I was like, maybe, but not me. And so it's so interesting to me how, and this is why I say, like, you can create your own lane when it comes to sales, so 100%. Long as you're genuine, so long as you can lean in and really focus on what is important to the customer. And what I think is interesting too is that, a lot of folks, when you start trying to coach them and teach them this stuff, whether they're on your team or they're a prospect, they will literally fight to stay in their comfort zone. They will fight to stay where, like, they don't have to get out of there and try something new. And again, I've learned over the years there's situations where you dress a little bit nicer versus, whatever. So, like, I understand that. But what I'd be curious for you, because if I understand correctly, you kind of broke out of that corporate stuffy in the box situation. Yeah. So, like, what's that process look like? How did it go, like, getting out of that zone into being able to be more of yourself?
One, like, I banked on myself, right? I had confidence in myself. I wasn't arrogant, but I banked on myself. And I think that's one thing that people don't do. They enter into a world of uncertainty with uncertainty, but you can enter a world of uncertainty with confidence. Like, okay, I'm just going to kind of figure this out. And I just noticed, like, the people that, when I looked back at all of the clients that I had good relationships with, that valued me, they didn't give a shit about what I wore, right? I had a guy. So before I left to start my business, I was in the insurance space. I was selling property and casualty insurance to small and middle market businesses. And there was a guy that was a customer that called me 3 years later and said, "Hey, Bryan, can you talk me through this? You're the only person I trusted in insurance, and I got this problem. Can you give me some time and talk me through this?" And actually, that same guy is another funny story. So his who he was buying insurance. When I met him, he was buying insurance from somebody that he knew. He had a couple losses that were crazy. And I'm not going to get into the technicality of sales or insurance, but he was drastically underinsured. I tripled the amount of insurance he had just to get him up to par. And as we're talking, I'm not going to share his name because he's got a unique name. He was getting pissed, right? He's sitting there with his CFO, him and his CFO, and he's getting pissed. And I said, "Hey, I was like, so what do you want me to do about this? Right? Like, this is what it is. What do you want me to do about this?" And he's looking at me. And I was just sensing, I'm like, "Hey, do you want me to leave? And then you can kind of decide on this." He goes, yeah, because I need a fucking drink. And I like, so I laughed, right? He's just wanted, he wasn't mad at me. He was mad at the situation, but it was better if I left, right? Like, because I was tied to the situation. And he's like, he thanked me afterwards. He's like, "I just need a drink." Like, he was so freaking pissed off because he was realizing that the other person that was his friend didn't know crap about insurance and didn't care, didn't want to serve his needs, wouldn't tell him the hard stuff the guy needed to hear to actually protect himself. He was just telling him what he wanted to hear, right? And that's the thing too, is like with people, I've learned is just don't necessarily tell people what they want to hear. Tell them the truth, whether it hurts or not, right? I'm not rude about it. And people respect that because every other salesperson, they feel that every other salesperson would just lie to them just to get the sale, right? And I would spend time, like, I'll say it this way, trying to talk them out of it. Like, "Hey, this is going to be a lot of work, especially insurance. You're the CEO. This is a lot of paperwork to fill out. Are you sure you want to do this? Are you sure you want to fill this out?" "Oh, no. Okay. All right. As long as you want to do it." And we had a more of a peer-to-peer relationship, right? They respected me. Many liked me, but they respected me, right? And that's what I went for. I constantly go for respect, right? Because with respect comes trust. Right. And then I was just always operating that. It's like, "Hey, I don't need to BS people. I don't need to put on nice clothes to act like, I'm this big, important person. I just show up, and what you get when you're talking to me in the sales process is what you get when you're working with me. There's no difference." And that's one thing I learned too, is like, I don't shapeshift. I'm unapologetically me, and this is my approach. It feels natural to me. And the more I put myself out in the world, the more ultimately it happens. So I went off on the rails there. I don't know if you answered your question.
No, it's good because it really helps. I know we have people at all different stages of their journey, right? Whether they're just getting into sales or maybe they've been in sales for a number of years and they're kind of trying to figure out, what was I doing before that I'm not doing now that's causing me not to get the results that I want. And I love this conversation because it's a lot of what I coach people on in our own company is about creating authority. And not authority in the way of like, I'm going to tell you what to do, but the authority to say, "Hey, I can be trusted to show you what is actually going to happen. And you're going to give me the permission to have those hard conversations with you because you don't know what you don't know." And a lot of times, when we're growing through entrepreneurship and sales, we've got noise coming from all over the place, right? There's this guy, and you got social media now, and you got every other scroll. There's an ad from some guru that's got, the next proprietary process. And it's not to say that they don't maybe have something that works, but if you want people to know, like, and ultimately trust you, you have to be able to have that authority and get the permission to have those kinds of hard conversations with people. Just earlier today, I had a guy that was like, telling me all how excited he was and all these things. And then, I followed up with him and he ghosted me a couple times. And then he finally picked up today. And I was like, hey, man, it's Drew. He just wanted to pop by, and he hung up on me. And so I sent him an email and I'm like, listen, man, I'm going to have a hard conversation with you right now. The first time we talked, you told me that you have an issue with people that ghost you and who hang up on you when you call. The energy you put out is the energy that you're going to get back. And so while I understand that this might not be a good time for you, I just want you to remember that this is going to be a revolving cycle in your life until you get this under control. And we're going to see what he has to say about it. But like, having the confidence to have those conversations is a big part of what allows me and any sales professional to continue to progress in their career. So like for you, like what do you see as kind of that big thing, or like what couple things do people really need to make sure they're remembering when they step into selling to, higher business owners or more powerful individuals?
It broke up there. I missed that.
Oh, no. All right. Well, so what would you say are like the three things that people who are selling in, a B2B space, or when they're working with a little bit higher power individuals, like what are the things that they really need to do to be able to develop that authority and to up their game in that space?
One, just like you said, establish authority through, don't come in there as they're this big important person and you're down here, right? If you establish yourself lower and you come in afraid, or you come in worried, or like have this story in your head about, gosh, this person's super important and they're powerful, you're done from the start. Because executives in B2B can smell it on you. They can smell it on you, right? And the second thing is kind of goes back to what you were saying about the guy who's ghosting, is what you give out, you get back. Right? So confidence, you get confidence back. Trust, you get trust back. Authority, you get authority back. Right? It's understanding that, and making sure that you're giving out the right stuff. The next thing is to don't worry about challenging someone like that. They actually appreciate it, right? They've got a bunch of yes people in their world typically. So don't be the yes person, and also realize that, and this kind of loses something you were saying right before too, is which part of the brain, the person that you're really having the conversation with. You're really having a conversation with the emotional side of somebody first, and then they fill it in with ration. So their resistance is irrational, right? Or their pushing back is irrational. Like it's like this guy that hung up, the phone on you, right? Like there was a part of him that was just scared, pissed, or whatever, right? Is, hey, realize that's what you're negotiating with, because then that ultimately helps you figure out what move to make, what tactics to use, how to approach that conversation until you move into the rational part, right? I guess I would dare to say that the conversation is in irrational context at first until it moves into rational, right? So it's little things like that, and another thing is, you probably talk about this too, is matching, pacing, and leading people, right? One way to get what you give out, or talk to the emotional side of that person, is matching, pacing, and leading them, where you gain that rapport and you get on the same page, because they're coming up with the walls up, right? And your job is to knock that down and go, knock that shit off, right? Like that's what I'm trying to do, is bam, knock that shit off, right? Like I'm not that guy over there. I'm me. I'm here to help you. And you have to illustrate that to them. You can't just say it. You actually have to do things to illustrate it, right? So challenging is actually a trust builder, right? I'm going to illustrate, you can trust me. Is like, or like I mentioned before, like like trying to, as they say, talk people out of it. It's like, hey, so why do you even want to do this? Right? Like, this is kind of crazy. It's going to take a lot of work. Why do you want to do this? And then they'll start talking new lines. Like, okay, now we're building trust, and now I'm establishing my authority in that conversation.
Yeah, I love the psychological aspect of sales, and very much people like to think they're being logical with the decisions they're making, but a lot of it is based on the emotion that they're feeling. And you have to learn how to communicate with people, because ultimately everyone processes the world in different ways.
Yeah.
You know, and we don't have to go deep into the NLP and all the different parts of that, but if you're listening, understand that human beings are emotional creatures. We like to front and put logic at the forefront and say like, oh, well, logically, I'm going to have to wait, or I don't have the money for this. But it's an emotional decision that they're making based on a number of different things that they have decided or been like trained on their whole life. And so there's times, and I'm sure you've probably felt this way, but you know, it's like when you're in the middle of a conversation with someone, it's almost like you want to pull out a little squirt bottle and just squirt them. It's like, hey man, hey, you're acting like a fool. Get yourself together right now. And so like it's so difficult because, again, as a salesperson, you want to build rapport, and you don't want people to think that you're rude or you don't care about them, because we do care.
Yeah.
And also we care so much that we have to push you and challenge you to step out of that comfort zone, because if we don't, then are we really doing are we doing you justice by letting you stay comfortable? And I think that's something that a lot of sales professionals sort of struggle with getting that point across until they've developed the skill set to ask good questions. Like you said, hey, what makes you want to do this? Because instead of you selling them on it being a good idea, they're selling themselves by telling you all the reasons they know they need to do it. And then from there, you're simply like, you know what? I agree with you. That's a fantastic point that you've made. Like, let's go ahead and get this taken care of so that you don't have those issues anymore. And it takes a little while to develop that skill set, and it can be hard to train sometimes, but man, once you get it figured out and you flip that switch, like the whole game changes. And so I'd be curious for you, like, we talked a lot about great things today. If someone's only going to fix one thing in their sales process, what do you think it should be and why?
I think this is something that everybody can do, and salespeople are chronically bad at this. Is be consistent. Be consistent on how you take people through your sales process. Be consistent on following up. Be consistent on using the same framework. Right? You don't have to learn all the psychological stuff and what we're talking about. If you just apply consistency and show up consistently every day, you're going to win more. Right. And then it's easier to make these changes and nuances, right? Because you don't have to think about a bunch of the other stuff. And I just see so many people being inconsistent, and it causes so much trouble in sales for them, and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you there. One of the things I see, and I literally just made a post about this on social media last night. So if you're watching this, it's probably a couple months ago now. So like go back and look at it. But the issue is so many people, whether you're in sales or in marketing or entrepreneurship, there's a lot of shiny objects. There's a lot of noise. And so what I see happen oftentimes is someone's like, okay, well, I'm going to take this course. I'm going to go through this program, and they start implementing some things and they don't get an immediate result. And so their answer is, well, this doesn't work. I'm going to go try something else. This doesn't work. I'm going to go try something else. And they're constantly chasing this new shiny idea or process. But the problem is, as you said, they're not consistently applying what they've learned. And not every process is going to go exactly the way that you think it is. You've got to find that nuance. You've got to work within yourself to kind of understand, like, what parts of this work really well for me, what parts of it aren't working, so that I can not do that anymore. So I don't keep bringing the sales manager in and letting them piss off all my clients every time. And then like measuring those results. I had a mentor that always told me, hey man, what gets measured gets improved. And that was one of the big things. At first, I didn't quite understand it, but you can measure your conversations. You can measure the energy. You can measure the number of responses that you're getting from people if you pay a lot of attention. And that's a big thing that people don't want to pay attention, which is why they're constantly struggling to figure out what's working and what's not. And, Bryan, I'm sure we could probably nerd out on this stuff for the next 3 to 4 hours, and I want to be respectful of your time. I'm super excited to come find you more and follow more of your content, but how does the listener come find your stuff, check out what you have going on, and kind of get some more of these great insights?
Yeah, thanks. This has been great, Drew, too. I spend a lot of time on LinkedIn, so you can find me there. And all my usernames on all of social platforms are my last name, first name, McDonald Bryan, Bryan with a Y. So, and even the website is mcdonaldbryan.com. And then you can also join our newsletter at onpurposegrowthcommunity.com. That's onpurposegrowthcommunity.com.
Awesome. Well, I will make sure we put all that details in the show notes. So if you guys want to go find him, make sure you check out his website, sign up for his newsletter. This is one of the reasons I love doing this show so much, is getting the chance to meet and chat with amazing people like you, Bryan, folks who have a similar yet different perspective on the world just based on personal experience. So I can't thank you enough for taking some time out of your day to be here with us.
Yeah, thanks, man. This has been great. Appreciate you and everybody watching.
Absolutely. Well, you guys know what to do. If you enjoyed the episode and you got some value out of it, share it on social media. Tag me and Bryan. Let the world know that you invested a little bit of your most valuable resource, your time, and it was worth it. And then maybe send it to somebody that you know who sucks at sales. Maybe send it to your sales manager who's like constantly trying to tell you how to do things but hasn't closed a deal in 2 decades. Whatever. Don't get yourself fired. But listen, sales is that opportunity that you can make an amazing life no matter where you are. And so if you've got an awesome sales story, I'd certainly love to have you on the show and share it and glean some insight from you as well. Head over to callthedamnleads.com/podcast. Send us your show notes. Send us your details. Let's talk about what you got going on. And then grab some swag. Grab a hat, t-shirt, keychain, grab some stuff that says Call the Damn Leads, and remind not only yourself, but your team and everyone around you what it truly takes to be successful in this business. And you guys know what to do from here. Go call the damn leads. We'll see you on the next one.